Now,
Thank everyone for coming tonight. We'll call our meeting to order. At this time, if everybody would, stand for the invocation. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you, God. Thank you for this day, God. Just thank you for what you do for us. And God, it's asking God to give us wisdom, knowledge throughout all of our decisions we make for the citizens of this county. In your name we pray. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, tonight, we want to recognize, we had a deputy who passed away this past Friday, it was funeral day, John Johnson. Just, I want to ask everyone, please remember his family in your prayers, and he worked for the county for 18 years, and, he's got a little, recognition on this.
Thank you, Chairman. On Friday, May 1st, 2026, Haralson County lost a longtime employee and friend, Sergeant John Johnson. Sergeant Johnson dedicated his life to public service. He spent 18 years working for the Haralson County Sheriff's Office. He cared about his community. He wanted to serve and protect his friends and neighbors. He treated his coworkers like family. At the funeral service today, I was fortunate to listen to many of these people talk about Sergeant Johnson. They talked about his kindness, his warmth, his strength of will, and his incredible faith. He began his career at the Haralson County Sheriff's Office as a patrol deputy, and he worked his way up to the rank of investigator, where he mostly dealt with property crimes. For the last 10 years, he's been attached to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation as a dedicated and effective drug task force agent. Sergeant Johnson's assignment with the Northwest Georgia Drug Task Force, which consists of Paulding, Haralson, and Polk counties, enabled him to get poison off of the streets of Haralson County to protect his family and to protect all the citizens of this great community. Because of the work of Sergeant Johnson, we are all safer. Rare is the person that can say, I made the lives of everyone around me better, but you can say that about Sergeant Johnson. He's worked on many major drug bust investigations over the last few years, sending criminals to prison and preventing others from losing their way. He was a dedicated law enforcement officer, a respected colleague, a mentor in Christ, and a valued member of our community. Sergeant Johnson was also part of the men's ministry that taught at the Haralson County Detention Center on Saturdays. We believe that one bad decision did not define someone, and his work in the ministry there touched many lives. It seems clear that this is what Sergeant Johnson would have been most proud of. Haralson County lost a tremendous employee in Sergeant Johnson, and many of us lost a tremendous friend. So with the blessing of the Board of Commissioners, I think it would be fitting for all of us to take 30 seconds of silence to remember Sergeant Johnson, to recognize what he meant to this county, and to reflect on our appreciation for the wonderful life that he lived. Sergeant Johnson dedicated his life to protecting the public, and his presence will be felt by this county for a long time. Sergeant Johnson, we know that even in death, you are still watching over us, and we thank you for your service.
Thank you, brother. All right, again. This report, got some commissioners that asked about, there's still about 1,000 abatements still out, between, the appraiser's office and tax commission. And that's what the report they gave us today.
How often are they sending them daily, or are y'all collecting a batch and sending them? Because it's very sporadic.
It seems to me that we continue to send those pretty much as we get them in now. We do have some that we're holding in. We initially delivered a significant batch to them at one time. that they were still working on it set beforehand. And as I emailed each of the commissioners earlier today, it seems to be a lot of it is in that LSL4 exemption code. That was that error with the vendor. I think they're still getting those entered in, but I really don't know where the tax commissioner's office stands at this time. I know those forms are regularly going over to them, but I know it's taking them quite some time to get those entered in. Of course, with the major deadline to pay property taxes having already passed last week, I imagine that's going to free up a lot of their time to begin expediting some of this. I know they were swamped for that season over there, so I know they should be able to play a good bit of catch up in the next couple of weeks. Should have most of that resolved, I would imagine.
Did this office make contact with Ms. Thompson to come over and speak to us?
She was not available today.
Well, I'm sure all of you that have not received tax bills are wondering, as we all are, tax assessments about to go out or close to going out, I would think, in the month of May.
Should be in June or early July. We have a constitutional deadline of July 1 each year to make that.
So, you know, hopefully everybody will have had their tax bill by then before you get the next assessment. And, sorry for the delay. Maybe we'll have a clear understanding from the tax collector's office at next month's meeting if there's still a number of, bills that have not been sent. But thank God. Thank you.
Also, I'd like to recognize, Zach here. Zach has just completed his class 4 appraisal. I got that right, and that's the highest understanding you can get. And we've not many counties in the state of Georgia has class 4. Congratulations, Zach. All right, do I have a motion and a second to approve the regular meeting April 7th, regular work session April 21st, and special call meeting April 21st, 2026?
Motion to approve make a motion to approve the previous minutes as written.
All right. All in favor? Raise your hand. Thanks. Next, approval agenda.
I'd like to, and Mr. Macklin, I don't know if this is necessarily modifying the agenda, but we have items 1 and 2. I know we've kind of set a precedent that we hear we have a public hearing, we hear input from both the proposed rezoning applicant as well as members of the public. So to the extent we need to modify the agenda, I would just ask that we remove items 1 and 2 for the vote on that till the June meeting, as we've taken the stance. And since I've been on the board, that we hear these and then wait till the following regular scheduled meeting to actually vote on those.
All right.
I approve that motion.
Yeah, the policy that we set back at the time we were going through the landfill dispute was to have the vote in the meeting after the public discussion. Unless that's been changed formally, I think we should stick with it.
At this time, I just make the motion that we remove items 1 and 2 for the vote. Still move forward with the presentation and public hearing on the request, but just remove the vote.
All right, you got that. Do I have a motion?
I'll let you
Second. All right, all in favor? Raise your hand. So the agenda has been approved and adopted. With items 1 and 2. All right. At this time, we will begin our public participation. One question, are there any public participation on the agenda?
Mr. Chairman, let me just interject here. If these are public comments related to the rezoning request, traditionally they'd be heard during the course of that actual hearing, so they may want to reserve their comments until the public hearing on zoning.
I thought this was a public hearing on the zoning. We have the other meeting. We already spoke once. They're speaking again. There one more meeting to speak at. I thought there were only 2.
We just got to that part of the agenda, I believe, is what Councilor is saying.
Okay,
Wait,
you'll have a special time to talk just about that rezone.
That's fine. All right.
Yeah, you still gonna get straight.
All right, that's good.
Christian Alexander, I'm not sure if there was an agenda item. What were you wanting to say? No, it's a non-agenda item. Like, we can begin the public interest. Here's your-
Well, that'll be it.
That'll be at the end. Yes.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that'll be at the end.
Okay. We can start the public hearing this time. Our public hearing on rezoning request by S&W Temple LLC, Haralson County Tax Map Information 0115-0027. Property located is at North Highway 113. Present zoning is A1 agriculture, proposed to 2.7 acres to be zone CGB. All right. We need this.
The applicant,
That's.
good afternoon. My name is Jack McGowan, 2 Ravinia Drive, Atlanta, Georgia, 30346. I'm the applicant, SW Temple, and on behalf of 3T Land LLC, we are respecting the approval of rezoning 2.7 acres of land just north of the intersection of Liberty Church Road and State Route 113 from A1 to CGB for the development of a 9,100 square foot Dollar General retail store. The proposed store will front Highway 113, an area that's transitioned to support retail with its increase in population and residential growth along the highway. The store will front Highway 113, a state route that connects Temple, Bremen, Draketown, and Rockport. This is a major arterial road that sees about 5,000 plus cars per day in front of the site and has a speed limit of 55 miles per hour. The proposed store is a DGTP, it's the newer prototype that's going to offer more cooler space, fresh produce, perishable goods. And when we get to the site plan, you'll see the store fronts State Highway 113. So we'll work hand in hand with DOT, secure the permit, ensure all site distance measures and safety requirements are met for safe ingress, egress to the proposed store. Architecture will be an earth tone brick with varying accents, but we're open to modify or improve it to make it kind of like a one-off. People would prefer that. The lights will be fully shielded and what we call shoebox lights. They shine down and they are dark skies compliant. And additionally, there'll be a 50-foot buffer surrounding both the sides and rear of the store. With trees and possibly a fence. Some additional benefits include some construction related jobs to the area, full-time store management jobs. And if you subdivide out this 2.7 acre tract that's here, annually it's paying about $308 in taxes. Proposed Dollar General, based on the other Dollar Generals in the county, are paying about $7,800. So about a 2,400% increase in tax income. The store will provide the immediate and growing area with necessities such as toilet paper, milk, eggs, dry goods, and other general home items. We appreciate your positive consideration of this rezoning. And for the rest of my time, I'd just like to answer any questions or any comments.
Any board member there? Okay.
I think the only question how many dollars more of the top mama is about it?
The 5 mile. I don't have it over here this side. There are, I see 4 or 3.
3.
And there are 4 miles south in Temple, 4.5 north in Draketown, and 3.9 miles just northwest.
So,
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Why so many? Why do we need dollars? Let me get that. But why do you think, we need them everything?
No, said this in the planning commission, we are not Dollar General, we're the developers, we're the preferred developer for this area. They give us coordinates, about every year, and those are based on analytics such as traffic counts, households, and all sorts of other stuff that they run the traps on. And they've got people in a group called Market Planning that have, run all those traps and analytics, and they determine this intersection, the store would do great, and it wouldn't cannibalize any stores around it.
I'd like to know where you get those, 5,000 cars per day. I live on that road.
Yeah. We pulled it from CoStar and GDOT. I think it's a combined, if you do Liberty Church and then Highway 113 right there.
When you go out to it.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Yep, I appreciate it.
Our next person, right? This is just for anybody to speak for or against the public zoning.
My name is Greg Toller. I live at 1871 North Highway 113, which would be actually right in front of the Dollar General. And so I appreciate you guys representing us in the community and taking care of our valuable assets. I've done a little research and Clemson has a study out and finds that the property adjacent to Dollar Generals can decrease in value up to 20%. And so that's about $500,000 for my family and I that we go out of our pockets and we never see them. And so that doesn't include the other people in the surrounding houses. So that's a pretty big thing on us as taxpayers. And also the proposed site is right at Liberty Church Road, and that creates quite a traffic issue because, it's hard to see out of that Liberty Road exit on 113. And by adding another exit right there at it, that's going to create a lot of accidents. We already have a lot of accidents up the road at Morgan Road. And so I'm going to be in right on the east side of my house, the ambulance is coming by. And so I got 8 grandkids, number 8 on the way, and I want to see them grow up in a safe place. That's why we moved to Haralson County. That's why we have 40 acres there that all of our family lives on. So if we look at this and, we all got a letter that within, 1,000 yards of the proposed site. Some of the things that I don't really think are accurate is this is not an underserved area of Haralson County. So you need a Dollar General. Within 3 miles, you got 2. Within 5 miles, you got 4. You can't drive 3 miles to Dollar General, then you're in pretty bad shape. But I think most people can find a ride to a Dollar General. So putting one in everybody's backyard or front yard is just not, I think, in the long range plans for Haralson County. It doesn't really meet its own requirements of what is already there and what it proposed. It's agriculture. I bought the land because it was agriculture. The people that I bought it from, 3T, actually told me that, hey, they were going to sell that land in chunks, build 2 houses on it. It wouldn't be a subdivision. If it would have been, if I'd have known they were going to get this route, I would have never bought the property. So I was trusting them and their integrity of their word. And so, I guess at this point, it's y'all's mercy to protect my investments as well as other people in the community. Some of the things that I want to point out is this Dollar General is not compatible with current land uses. So you guys know what the land uses are, and that's agriculture. It's not commercial, and that's not a commercial corridor, even though they say it is. There's not commercial around there. The residential stuff, there's farming around there. And so I would like to see it stay that way as a resident of Haralson County. And also don't want to see the traffic that Dollar General brings. You guys have been in Dollar Generals and go in there, and I've never seen 10 employees in the Dollar General. Sometimes you're lucky to see 1. And so if nobody's there managing the store, guess what? Crime's going to go up. Who's going to pay for that? Us taxpayers going to pay for it. It's going to come out of our pocket. And so those are the things that they don't tell you when they're trying to sell their speech on us so that we'll, let their Dollar General come in. And listen, I'm not against Dollar Generals. I buy stuff there, but I'm against one in my front yard. And the lighting, I don't care if it points straight down, it's still going to be lighting. It illuminates at my house and the other houses that I have on my property, which is not very conducive for sleeping and other things that you like to do in the dark. So The other thing that I want to point out is that I think the safety risk is a huge thing that we can consider. You know, we talk about traffic, but you don't hear the sirens unless you live on 113 by there. It's coming by all the time because you're Morgan Road and that's just right there at it. So with that in mind, I do think that the major component is it's just incompatible with current land usage. And you guys are here to protect us as Welsh constituents. I did get 200 signatures of people around the Dollar General proposed site. And here's what I found. I did not find one person that was for it. Nobody did not sign my papers or anybody else's papers because they supported the Dollar General. Now, you know statistically that when you have one person that's against something, then they typically influence 8 to 10 people. So those 200 signatures could be up to 2,000 votes. And so I just throw that out there, you guys, because y'all care about our community and there's a lot of influence in those 200 people that are given their word. I have more time. I would have more signatures. I personally think it's a backward process. Why am I, the citizen, going to get these signatures to protect my land when the people that are trying to get the thing changed should be the ones get the signatures so that they can move it in? So, you know, maybe that's a different meeting for a different time, but it does sound a little convoluted that I have to do all the work to protect what I bought when they should be the ones doing the work to try to change what I bought. So I'm just here to speak for the people. I think there's more people that can talk to their own stuff, but I thank you for considering and looking out for us because that's what we voted for. So thank you.
Thank you.
We also, the sign-in sheet, we had a few people that wanted to talk, but if y'all think that you got the final note for this talk, then we can just go ahead and move on. Okay.
Nice.
Anyone else? I'm sorry.
Sorry, we didn't sign it.
Dog space. It's not. It's not. I'm not a good neighbor.
We support you.
Well, I'm with you. I hadn't really thought about what I was going to say, and I'm certainly not going to give Alabama a ticket for it. But we bought our house in 1980 with the son. I raised my children, my grandchildren, my great grandchildren live next to me. The little boy over there, I'm adopted, and I'm raising him and his brother and my son. We would be next door with all of them. My house on that side sits 10 feet off of the property line. If they build theirs 50 feet off the property line, that would mean they would be within 60 feet of my house. And there are no trees in that part of it. We would have to build, plant them. I take that back. There's trees behind my house and there's trees in front of my house. When the property went up for sale, I called the numbers on the for sale sign and tried to buy out of it. For 100 feet, whatever, for 5 acres, or 4 acres, stuff. And the realtor told me that it had been sold to a gentleman who wanted to build one house in it. That evidently was not true. He offered to sell me land on the other side of where the Jolly Grandma Center. That would do me no good because I'm still 10 feet off my property line. I think it would be a danger to my son is raising 6 of his grandchildren. He's in the house next to me, which sits probably 100 feet, or no, 50 feet off the road. We have to put it there because they changed the, you can't do an access on the acreage anymore unless you have so much road frontage. So his house had to be towards the road. Talking about Morgan Road, and we live there, I can personally think of not just accidents, but 3 fatal accidents. I don't know, anybody who's lived in the area for any length of time will know that. I believe this gentleman here built their house, what, 2 years ago? About 2 years ago. I'm sure they didn't build it thinking they were gonna have a Dollar General across the street. And like them, I also use Dollar General, and just for information, you can get it delivered. I'm gonna have to be next door, I can call and have it delivered. I can call Walmart and have it delivered. It's a residential area.
Okay, well, there's some other folks, I guess, I don't want to take, if y'all want to speak, absolutely, I don't want to take away anybody's ability to speak, but if everything's, I would imagine everybody out there that wants to speak is probably going to echo the sentiment that has already been raised tonight. So if there's somebody different that'd like to say something different, by all means, and again, if you want to come up and say, please come up and speak.
I think we're all in agreement with you guys, right? We're all in agreement.
Thank y'all for coming tonight. So if there's no other comments on this,
I have a question, when we sent out planning and zoning and letters were sent to the residents that live within the 1,000 feet. Is that what?
$1,000.
I don't remember off the top of my head, but there is a specific distance away from the property that we're required to mail out.
Well,
I think they did.
My request, my question is, then, what response did the planning and zoning get from that?
Mr. Chairman, we denied it, the zoning board denied it, basically, it doesn't fit the comprehensive plan that we're currently under that area, so the zoning board denied it.
Okay, thank you.
all right. No one else? We will move to the second public hearing. On the zoning request. It's been requested by William Collins, Haralson County Tax Map Information 0105-0060. Property is located at Highway 78, resident zoning is agro, A1 agriculture, proposed to 2 acres to be, excuse me, zone C in the B. Is there anyone? Is Mr. Collins? Okay.
Live at 24 something, right around the corner from here. And so our company, or my company, Collins owns the office and bring them right now, and it's 2,600 and I know. We got roughly, a little over 2,000 square feet that we use there. And so we want to, move to the other property that I have, build a new place there. And so inside of that place, we use it for office space, some warehouse space, and a showroom for, we do custom homes for people also. And so we have a showroom in our current place, and so we locate that there also. And I did just have a rough sketch of what the exterior building and all that, to get like if you're interested in that. I know it is agriculture at the time, but, also with the second and third page, also listed in all the commercial businesses. They're less than 2 miles away from where this property is at. And when you go more than that, then you're in 2 cities already. So, to me, it's not wildly out of the, area.
Any questions from the board?
And as far as I know, there's been nobody reach out to me with negative about it, and not to myself at the time that they haven't followed me.
Thank you. For that. All right. Is there anyone?
I'd like to ask Adam again, and what kind of response did y'all get from the citizens on the letters that went on this?
So we had no public participation on this request. We actually looked for our ordinances and tried to find another avenue to keep trying to rezone it to CD to get the UD. And that's something that really need to work on as a family.
But we don't really provide an avenue for people like themselves to have a small business on their property. We believe that's what this is, not the traffic and stuff, but, like a Dolphin or a Walmart or et cetera. So we did pass this.
Any other questions? Any other? Viewers, watch. Thank you for coming out. Okay, at this time, we'll move,
Mr. Chairman, just if I could interject, and again, I apologize for interrupting, but just to make sure everybody in the audience is aware that the vote on those two rezoning requests will take place at the next meeting.
Is the voting meeting in June or the work session in? But,
The voting meeting in June.
okay.
all right. Okay. We'll move to our last item on our agenda. At last work session, we discussed on moving public speaking from 3 minutes to 5 minutes. Haralson County ordinance on public participation during a meeting to move from 3 to 5. We discussed that. Do I have a motion to move this ordinance from 3 minutes to 5 minutes?
I'll make a motion. I make a motion that we don't move it from 3 minutes to 5 minutes. I guess this is, but before we go through all this as individual items that are on here for us to vote on, I'm not for what's being proposed tonight. And the reason being, before I came commissioner, I spent 4 years out there in the streets y'all are at tonight. To both of the commissioner monthly meetings and to both of the workshops. And at that time, Chairman Poole tried to shut it down. And that did not set well with me, but if I have something that I want to talk to the chairman about, I will call up here, I will schedule a meeting through the clerk's office to come see it. But if I have something I want to bring before the board, I don't want to be censored, I don't want to be scrutinized, and I don't want the details worked out before I even get to come to the meeting. That is not open government. You people are citizens of this county. This is your time that you get to come before us. And this program, this way has been going on now for 4 or 5 years probably. And for the most part, and most 99% of the time, it has worked out extremely well. If you get up to speed and you're making, and you're being positive through the fact of speech, you're not being redundant, you're not being ugly, you're trying to make a point. We're having conversation with you, trying to understand your point. Then to put 5 minutes on you, I may not get to speak in 60 seconds, and one of those commissioners is gonna talk the next 4. That's not right. I firmly believe it's your time to speak when we're here, and I don't think we should deny the public that right. As long as we keep ourselves adult-like, and I say that on both sides of the table. But I've been in your city, and I did not like that, and I will not vote to scrutinize the citizens, their ability to speak. So whatever this board wants to bring before tonight, to change, to do what's written before them, I won't be making a motion, I won't be making a second part, but I will be raising my hand against it. Or y'all make
Did I misunderstand, the request is to move it from 3 minutes to, is to increase the time? Increase the time. Okay.
It's an ordinance, just so everybody knows, this ordinance that's been in place for 3 times. And yes, and people, you don't hear time more often, but it is increasing the time.
And I'll just say this, I've been on the board for 5 years now, and as you probably, I can't recall any instance that we've ever had where, we've ever shut somebody down and, told them they have to stop and sit down. All I would say is, when we're talking about these ones, it's not to cut anybody off, but if we do have something where there's 200 people that show up to speak at one time, 200 times 3 minutes gets a lot. 200 times 5 minutes gets a lot. So it's not an attempt to ever cut anybody off, but it's an attempt to make sure that if you show up to speak, that at some point that night, before 3 a.m. the next day, you're going to have an opportunity to speak on it. So I don't want anybody to say that we're trying to limit time. We're talking about increasing it from 3 to 5 minutes. So, I don't want anybody to ever view this as limiting time. It's to hopefully ensure that everybody that wants to speak at something has the time to speak that. And the intent is to never dissuade or take away any citizen's ability to voice their concerns to our community or to our board. In fact, it's quite the opposite, to ensure that everybody has an opportunity to speak. So.
Well, I appreciate what Commissioner Farmer says, and I think Commissioner Farmer just showed a perfect example of that a while ago when he made openly, when this gentleman back here had not signed up. But he did not, the farmer did not want to deny this gentleman's right to speak, but he just wanted to know, was it more of what we've been hearing? And then I think y'all asked, everybody is not in favor of. So that's a good way of getting not getting rid of, but hearing from a lot of people at one time. But Mr. Farmer was very correct in offering this gentleman his time if he had something else to say. And that's all I want us to do tonight. I don't want to do what's before us. I think what we're doing has been working fine.
It is an agenda item. Proposal was.
Commissioner O'Donnell, maybe not spoken on this, any thoughts about changing the 50 members to make anything that make any change to it without voting on it?
I think we need to leave this on, I think the board is, we always give the time to speak and we'll never cut them off. And if we've already got an ordinance sitting there, I don't think we need to join it because we don't ever cut anybody off. I don't want to cut them off.
I don't want to create a solution for a problem that doesn't.
I appreciate the board saying this, but I think, Counselor, you may have said that our ordinance reads different. And I'm not sure, but well, I'm saying whatever it says, we've been operating this way for a number of years. And if we need to change the language in our ordinance, then I think here's the time that the commission board needs to correct our attorney to do so. And, so.
Your current language is 3 minutes, correct?
Well, you're right, the current language was 3 minutes, and the current language is also a lot more restrictive than what your practice has been. The practice over the since I've been known this a number of years now, has been, as you say, to give everybody a chance to speak that wants to, but the ordinance that you have in place is much more restrictive than that if you chose to enforce it, which nobody ever has.
I haven't even seen the any change in ordinance.
Just, no, I have not read it in a number of years other than what we will want to change it to. Yeah.
Yeah, for what it's worth, maybe it's worth tabling this for future considerations. We have to review all the other contingencies that are placed upon top of that 3 minutes that we,
The ordinance reads so that it's very restrictive, that you gotta signal your intent to speak far in advance of the meeting, which we've never followed that rule.
People do work, and people don't have time to come up here before Wednesday afternoon, before 5 o'clock, and sign up when they work till 5, and it's the best, all they can do to get here at 6 o'clock. And we shouldn't deny that or punish them because they are out working, making a living and paying their taxes and being citizens of this county.
I'd like to ask if the rest of the board would be amenable to it, the office, Mr. Macklin, could redraft that to take on. I mean, obviously, we've never enforced it. I didn't even know that was something that was required to require people to sign up well in advance.
Honestly, I looked at it today.
Somebody wants to show up at 6 o'clock and put their name on it. They would have said, so.
I think we can redraft something that will follow what our actual practice has been over the last few years. It seems to have worked pretty well most of the time. We never gonna have a perfect ordinance because there will be an issue that will arise that will throw everything off. We just have to deal with that when it comes up. But your usual practice works pretty well, and we can change this ordinance to reflect that.
I think you need to do that. I think we need to table this and then allow Mr. Macklin to draft us something more appropriate. And let us look at it. If you're making a motion, I'm making a motion to do that.
Yeah.
Second.
Second, all in favor? Raise your hand. Motion carried.
Mr. Chairman, I would just like to say, I appreciate how y'all conduct meetings like that, and allow us, how y'all have always done that, and I hope people boards continue that, because it is very important. I was part of the meeting back every day. Sharing tool. As long as it's all applicable, I appreciate the way y'all conduct it.
Thank you. All right, any participation on non-exempt part?
Is a Christian Alexander.
Thanks, anything to go by, we just shoot it from the hip. Couple months ago, I contacted me about hunting the 1,000 acres that the county owns, east side out there.
Yes, ma'am.
And you told me to get in contact with the person, I can't remember his name. You said everything was okay.
Yes.
Why is one sole individual that's not a part of this board have access and capabilities to be able to say who can and cannot hunt on the own property, and who has to pay to hunt on the property?
Okay.
I'm gonna relate to that to the extent that I can, and I'll allow Mr. Macklin to the extent that he has knowledge when all that went down, but when we purchased that property, we contracted with a group to run security. That group, put up gates, put up fences, put up cameras, because obviously that's a large plot of land and the county owning, we need some folks out there that we're gonna do those types of things. They lease it from the county, can tell you who all's involved in that. I'd be happy to talk to you afterwards, try to get in contact. I don't know if you've been able to get in contact with that person now. Turn it over to Mr. West. I know, Avery could probably speak to it a little bit more than Mr. Macklin can, so I hope I'm not messing anything up when I say
I
it.
think that's generally right, is that at the time that the county contracted with them, they felt that it was in the best interest of the county to have somebody watching over that land. Otherwise, it's going to be a free-for-all out there. And so we did enter into a contract with have somebody manage the property while the board was attempting to make a final determination as to what it was going to do with the property. If it's not working out, then we'll bring it to the attention of the board, and when that contract is up to be renewed, to try and make changes in it. But that was the agreement right now, is to hire somebody to look after the property and manage it while it's in transition.
I can understand that, but what I can't understand is I guess I should have got it first is, why can an individual make money off of county owned property? How is he?
I don't think,
I thought that
they pay us to lease that property and run security for that property. We don't pay them.
no, that person is charging other individuals to be able to hunt that property.
Because they have food plots in there, they have maintenance, they build stands, they work the land. And as Mr. Farmer said, they pay us a fairly good price to be able to hunt that or for a hunting range. It's not $1 in Georgia sale. So, they did have a lot of upfront expense the very first year they were there. Because that was one of the things they had to do is gate every entrance, and they did. And that was a lot. If you bought many gates, they're expensive, but they did. And, I think the sheriff would say today that there's a lot less activity down there than what it used to be.
I would agree, but when I spoke to Mr. Walker, he told me that the individual paid, or the individual had access to one side of property was paying the property taxes on that place, but how can the county have write themselves a check to pay property taxes?
It's not a property tax.
That's what we told.
Yeah. It's anyway, what they're doing is paying, they factors in the contract, $14,000 a year. What they pay the county, for them now.
But the county,
Apparently you're.
Yeah.
Okay, it's no different than any other lease you could ever do. It's so happens county anyway. It's no different. I mean, you got a group of people lease the land, you pay for it. And that's basically, if you're not one of the ones on the lease. And you don't need to have. That's pretty much it in that too.
I'm sorry.
Any other?
Thank you, Mary.
I'm ready to do 171, you can bring represent West Lake Club. A few months ago, we were going to be put on the agenda for tonight, and we didn't make it. And that's fine, we change things happen, stuff like that. But I just felt we need out of respect for those club members who did travel from Atlanta to Dalton. It's going to be a far away place, and just to make a point for that. I guess that maybe we could put on this one agenda, please.
Yeah, no, do that. Yeah, we can put on the next one too. So what else? Yeah, I have a motion. Second, all three. This meeting is adjourned. Thank everyone for coming out. Have a safe trip home.